Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Candice. Today we are talking about body image, personal appearance, and of course we're going to be talking about this all from a Christian perspective, all spoken in love and not meant to trigger or shame anybody or anything like that. I'm just giving information and talking to you guys, and then what you do with it, of course, is between you and God, right? Before we start, of course, I'm going to pray for this video because I can't do any of these videos without his help. So, God, thank you for making us all in your own likeness. Thank you for making us all unique and not like cookie cutters where everybody looks exactly the same. Thank you so much for giving us all unique features and beauty in all different shapes and forms, and that you made us all like you. I pray that you would bless every single person under the sound of my voice, and that you would give them self-confidence and help them embrace the beauty that you've given them. I ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Okay, so of course this is from a Christian perspective, starting in Genesis, right? Starting in Genesis, when God made Adam and Eve, right? He made them in his own image. So he made us to represent him physically in all these different ways, right? I mean, God designed us in our mother's wombs. So I'm pretty sure in Psalms. I'd have to look up which one exactly. But he decided how tall we were going to be. He decided how big our noses were going to be. He decided whether our earlobes were going to be attached or not. He decided if our collarbones were going to stick out or not. He decided what the color of our hair was going to be, the color of our eyes. He decided, how thin or thick our lips were going to be. He put care and thought into every single attribute of you and I. He made it so we are beautiful and unique. And we are not meant to look exactly like somebody else. I mean, even if you look at identical twins, right? They are not 100% identical, ever. Like, there's always physical differences between them to make them unique. And I think God did that to give us, a sense of identity, how we're all different. And if you think about it, right, since the fall of man, right, Satan has been coming in and whispering these lies to us, or straight up shouting them at us sometimes, right? Like, oh, your butt's too big. Or, oh, the color of your hair doesn't match the color of your eyebrows, and that's ugly. Or, oh, your nose is too big. Or, oh, this is crooked. Or, oh, trying to sit there and make us feel bad about ourselves, right? Because he knows that we were made in God's image. He wasn't, right? And he's jealous about that. He does not like the fact that God loves us. He doesn't like the fact that God created us in all these beautiful different ways. So he wants to destroy that, right? The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? That's his job. That's what he does. He chooses to do this with his life, unfortunately. But so he comes in and he tries to tell us these lies that we are ugly, we're not good enough, we don't look desirable enough, we don't have the perfect body type, or we don't have big enough boobs, or we don't have this, or we have too much of this, right? He whispers and shouts all of these lies into our lives. And I'm specifically really talking to the women here. He does, of course, do this to men too, but I think there is a very special way he goes about this with women, because he really, really hates us. Ever since the whole Eve thing, he really hates women, right? He has a special hatred in his heart for us, unfortunately. Now, of course, God's love will overcome that, and his end is going to be miserable, unfortunately for him. But what he does is he does all these lies because he wants us to feel bad. He wants us to have self-doubt. He wants us to have straight up self-hatred if he can get away with making us feel that way, right? He wants us to hate the way we look, because then it's like a reflection of hatred against God. He wants to do anything he can to separate us from God, right? So he tells us all these lies. tries to make you feel bad about yourself, that you're not enough and too much in all these different ways and all these different physical attributes. And then on top of telling us all these lies, right, then he goes and he tries to make these fake solutions to fix the problems, right? Like, oh, your nose is too big. Here, we can have a stranger take a knife, cut you open, and do things, shave things down, put things here, put things there, to make your nose look different, to make it more beautiful, right? I mean, body modification, right, in very unhealthy ways has been going on since pretty much the dawn of the fall of man, right? I mean, you look at all these ancient civilizations, they did things like wrapping their infants' heads to deliberately deform them as they grew for a beauty standard, right? Or elongating their necks with all this jewelry as a beauty standard. Or, making holes in their ears and then making them entirely gigantic until basically your ear falls off. And we've been doing this for ages, corsets trying to cinch your waist in or make you look a certain way. All of these things are not healthy, right? Like, we know in the long run that there are complications from a lot of these things, right? I mean, there are a lot of women who get boob jobs who then, have health problems related to the fact that you basically just put 2 giant rubber balls in your chest, and your body is not meant to have rubber balls in your chest. And if even for the people who don't go to the extremes of surgery or injections, taking fat from one place and putting it in another where it doesn't belong, all of that stuff, there's still, the less invasive body modifications, right, that Satan sells us. Things like, oh, here's a bra that makes you look 2 sizes bigger than you actually are, so then you can have those big boobs that are desirable. Or here's some shapewear with some padding in it for your backside. Here's a bunch of makeup and different cosmetics you can use to literally change the way people perceive the shape of your face. Here's hair extensions or chemically hair dyes to change the color of your hair, chemically spray tans to change the color of your skin. He sells us all of this different stuff, basically, which then feed the lie some more, right? And then at the same time, it's feeding all of these negative thoughts about ourselves. And then it makes you feel worse about yourself, right? Or makes you feel like now there's more things that need to be fixed. A lot of people go down this road of, they start with just wearing eyeliner, right? A few years later, they're wearing a full face of makeup. A year or 2 after that, they're doing all this contouring and everything, and they feel like they can't go out of their house without all of this stuff on their face because they don't feel beautiful without it, right? Have you seen those videos where women will title it something like, "How I Trick People into Believing I'm Beautiful," and then they proceed to, show you their natural face, which is beautiful already, and then they take it and they put so many layers of chemically cosmetics on that they literally look like they're wearing a mask that's somebody else's face, like some AI generated face that they just slapped on their own. And you know these women aren't happy with themselves. You know that somebody somewhere told them that they looked ugly, right? You know that somebody somewhere made fun of them or said, oh, your nose is too big or this or that. And of course, those were Satan's lies being carried out by people and being spread by people. But Satan's lies then permeated and then made these people feel bad about themselves. And so they feel the need to do all of these things to make themselves try and feel more beautiful. But the thing is, when we do all of these extra things to make ourselves feel more beautiful, it doesn't work. It really doesn't. I mean, when I was young, right, now that I'm in my 30s, I am completely at peace and I I'm in love with the way I look, right? Because this is the way God made me, and this is the way, like, I know he knows that I'm beautiful. Like, he made me beautiful in his eyes. I might not be culturally beautiful or, model beautiful. Who cares? A lot of people might think I'm ugly. But because I know that God made me in his image and made me beautiful, I don't have these image issues anymore. But when I was younger, I did, right? When I was younger, I started wearing eyeliner and mascara. I was not going to put a full face of makeup on because I was lazy as a teenager, but I definitely put eyeliner and mascara on because my eyelashes are very light, and I like them now, right? But when I was younger, I was like, my eyes, like, they're not defined enough, This is back in the day and age when people used to wear a lot of eyeliner, like, all the time. Anywho, so I started wearing it, right? And I just started wearing it as let me enhance my natural beauty and feel a little bit better about myself, right? It started out that way. And then I started wearing it more frequently. And then I got to the point where I was wearing it every day. I got to the point where when I took it off in the evening, I felt bad about the way my face looked. I was like, without this, I look so different and it's not good. Right? I got to the point where I was like that, and then I caught myself in this unhealthy mental space. And I was like, this isn't healthy. Like, if putting this stuff on my face is making me feel worse about myself overall, it's not worth putting it on my face, right? In the same way, that people who are constantly dyeing their hair or putting extensions in or doing curling irons and straighteners to get a different texture than what God normally gave them, overall you end up doing things like damaging your hair because you're using so much heat on it, so many chemicals on it, and then like it gets damaged and then you really feel bad about it, right? Like, Satan uses these tools to then, make us worse off, not better, worse, because that's, his trajectory only goes this way. God's goes this way, but Satan is bringing us down, and he does it through all these different means, right? Everything that he sells basically is false advertising to make yourself feel more beautiful or feel more confident. It ends up doing worse things for you in the long run. People who have surgeries to look more beautiful usually end up having complications. The person who has 5 nose jobs ends up not being able to breathe at night and has issues from that. The person who gets a boob job might end up having complications from having them and health issues, right? The person, in the same way, the person who's putting a bunch of chemicals on their head over and over and over again and using tons of heat and products and all these things, your hair might end up literally stop growing and just be fried and damaged. I knew people in high school, this was the era of, everybody dyed their hair like once a month. And there were girls there who their hair was so damaged, they literally could not get it to grow anymore. And they felt so bad about it, right? So then to make themselves feel better, they'd go dye it again. And it's like this vicious cycle that literally just makes you worse off, not better off. But there's hope, of course, right, guys? Because God made us in his image, so we are beautiful. The truth is, we are beautiful. I don't care how big your nose is, or small it is, or how thin or thick your lips are. I don't care if your collarbones stick out or they don't, or if, you are on the bigger bone side or very, very thin, okay? It doesn't matter. God made you beautifully exactly the way you are, right? And Satan's lies are exactly that. They are lies. And when you stop believing those lies and replace them with God's truth, it's amazing how freeing it can be, right? Like, I went from wearing, the eyeliner, the mascara, did highlights in my hair, like random stuff, had the nail polish on all the time, a bunch of jewelry, all of these things. And as I started realizing that, this isn't so healthy for me. Oh, this puts me in a negative mind space. I started getting rid of these things, right? I chucked the makeup into the garbage. The nail polish followed not there long after, I started letting my hair do its own thing. And that means, letting it do its own texture and its own waviness, whatever it feels like doing, and it is the color that God made it to be. I embrace the fact that I have light eyelashes, and that's just the way they are on my face, right? You get to the point where you accept the way God made you, and not just accept it, but then you start thinking about, okay, well, God made my body, right? He made it to do all of these beautiful, amazing things. He made me strong so I can do things like DIY kitchen reno. He made my muscles to be able to work in the ways that I need them to work, and to be flexible in the ways I need them to be flexible. He made women, especially, he made our bodies to be able to grow and expand and create life, right? He made us to be able to then nourish and sustain that life after it's born. He made our bodies to do incredible things, and he made them beautiful exactly the way they are, whether you have stretch marks or not. They are beautiful, right? If your hair is going gray and you've got a bunch of wrinkles, guess what? Those are the crowns of aging. They're a beautiful thing. It's in Proverbs chapter 16. It talks about, having white hair is a crown, right? It's a crown on your head of you've earned it. You've gotten older, you've aged gracefully. And so many people don't want gray hairs or white hairs. And I'm like, but they're beautiful. They are beautiful. And if we age gracefully by, embracing the way God made us to be, and not, putting all these things in and on our faces and in and on our hair and our bodies, you can age so beautifully. Have you ever seen a 95-year-old woman who doesn't use cosmetics, has never really used cosmetics, and hasn't done anything to her body, and she just looks great for being that old? We can age incredibly well, and it's a beautiful thing to age. It is not a horrible thing to have wrinkles, guys. It is not ugly to have gray hairs and white hairs coming in. Heck, I've got my own coming in. They're a beautiful thing, a sign of our bodies getting older, right? And as we age, we should, have a little more wisdom going on. But the thing is, the truth of what God made us to be. He made us, whether you are a man or a woman, he made you to bear his image, right? Now, yes, of course, there are things we can do naturally to make our body at its peak, right? Eating healthily, exercising, all of these things will make our body at its peak performance, right? And when our bodies are at our peak performance, we're going to feel the greatest about ourselves, right? But those things are not things that give bad results over the course of years. God's way of doing things, having us eating the right foods and exercising our muscles and our bodies, gives us long-term benefits, right? Gives us health, gives us healthy hair, healthy skin, healthy nails, healthy teeth, gives us energy and vivacity in life. We end up, living a better quality life longer if we go along with the way God does things, right? Now, Satan's, of course, remedies give bad results. God's don't. God's only make us better with age, right? And to finish this off, if you are a born-again believer, right, our bodies are the temple of God, right? In the New Testament, it talks about how if we, abide with God, he will come and he will abide inside of us. And he made our bodies to be his temple, right? So it's our job and it's our responsibility to take care of our temples, our bodies. It's our responsibility to treat them well, to do things that benefit them and not harm them, right? It's our job to make sure they are strong and that they are well taken care of. And when we do that, ultimately we're going to feel better about ourselves. We're going to feel great. We're going to project that inner joy on our faces, which then, of course, let's face it, when you're wearing a smile, you look even more beautiful than when you're not wearing one, right? But all of this to say, no matter what size you are, no matter what different shapes you've got going on in your face and your body and things like that, God made you. I mean, he took the time to knit together every single atom and molecule in your body. He made the time to decide, what color your lips were going to be, how many eyelashes you were going to have, how thick your fingernails would be. Or, he decided, exactly how big your feet were going to be. Like, he decided all of these things, and he took the time and care to design them to be proportionate to your body, for you to be able to move and run and dance and do all of the things that we do in our daily lives, right? He took the care to make sure that our bodies were functional and beautiful. So I just want to encourage you that if you are believing any of Satan's lies, to go back to God's truth, right? Meditate on it, look into it, because he made you, he loves you, and you are beautiful exactly the way you are. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye, guys.